Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Dungeon Story. I'm here with my players today and we're going to be telling you a great tale trying to use some new mechanics brought to D&D. We're going to be using the new Unearthed Arcana mechanics for 1D&D, and we're going to be incorporating those along with maybe some other mechanics that you haven't seen yet as we get further along into the story. With that said, I think we're going to dive right into it. Welcome to the wonderful world of Thimgrum. Thimgrum is a mountain city that was built to shelter the people from a cataclysm that was foretold. The people that built this mountain made a wondrous arcane engine within it. And when the doors were sealed, it was fired for the first time. Firing this engine powers many wondrous contraptions throughout the mountain. And over thousands of years, as this city has grown within the mountain, the people have thrived and expanded their reach to the furthest points of the mountain. A few hundred years ago, they reached outside of the mountain to see what was left of the world. They found a harsh, unforgiving climate. They did settle directly next to the mountain, creating the latest burrow, Outer Burrow. There's been many expeditions out into the wilds beyond the mountain, but none have yet taken hold, the latest of which is Ilfador. But that's not where we start our story today. We start our story in one of the 7 boroughs, Outer Burrow. Paula, where do we find your character today?
So it's a pretty quiet temple, pretty early in the morning. Fidessa, who is a high elf, is just sitting in front of an altar, staring at sort of the images that are laid out before her and just pointing and repeating names like she's trying to memorize something, and isn't doing very well with it. But has sort of just sat herself, and she's going to learn the name of every single little deity on this altar. She will be a good cleric someday.
Coming over to you, a hand rests on your shoulder. It's your old friend, Aiden Androl, the head cleric of this temple, and he looks at you and he goes, Damthai, how are you doing?
I think I've almost, that one's Celebron.
No.
Okay.
No.
So that one is
yes.
Yes. Okay. He's got the ears and the face, and he has a body the other one doesn't. I will. Let me take a note on that.
Blessed Corlon, you will get this one day.
Well, someday I'm going to get it.
You're doing your best, and that's all anyone can ask of you. You have a good heart, good soul, and it is wonderful that you have come to spend time with me and study.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate you making a space for me here to study while I'm studying. Studying's important.
I know the court of Corlon is very confusing, but you can't take the statues and move them all around.
Oh, yes.
If that's what you're implying, they kind of have to stay in those stationary places within the temple. That way we know who to pray for knowledge. We know to give thanks to Corlon, as he is the first of the gods, and he is the one who created us.
My only question is, why don't you just lay it out alphabetically? And then everyone would know.
Maybe there's some thought to, let me think on that.
Okay.
We're gonna cut away to Torbram. Where do we find Torbram?
Torbram is currently mustering with his squad in the middle of the Outer Burrow, waiting for his staff sergeant to assign our roles. Hopefully I just get wall duty, because that's the one that seems to make time pass the least longest.
Torbram! Your staff sergeant approaches you.
Yes, staff sergeant.
Large, imposing, orcish figure. The lieutenant wants to see you.
Oh, lieutenant? What's the lieutenant want with me?
He said he had some special duties for you today. You must have done something real good.
Oh, does it have to do with that comment about his hair?
You made a comment about his hair?
Oh, I just said, his hair is as yellow as the gold that bought his position. But,
I always help you, but there is no helping your mouth.
Out of curiosity, was the lieutenant in a bad mood?
He said he had a special assignment for you.
God, I hope it's
We're
not.
actually going to be clearing the tracks for the rail line that heads out to the new outpost. So far, everything we've come across has tried to kill our people. So maybe it's best you're not clearing the tracks, eh? Seeing as how the rail line hasn't made it out to the station once yet.
Yeah, I'm not really good at killing the stuff. Yeah, okay, my special duties.
Well, off to the lieutenant then.
Yes, Staff Sergeant.
And away you go. We're going to cut away from that for a moment, and we're going to, I guess, peer deeper into the mountain to Denys. Where do we find Denys?
So with it being early in the morning, Denys is basically just waking up, and he's starting to eat breakfast. His days are fairly laid out for him. He has, breakfast first thing in the morning, goes kind of into training, generally spars, and then more training with basically his father, Denys. I mean, it's kind of all scheduled out for him.
Your mother is preparing a lovely meal for you. Probably lots of protein. More protein than most gnomes normally have.
Yep.
Trying to build muscle, never skipping leg day, never not training to be the best possible wrestler. Does a 21 hit your AC?
Yes.
From behind you, your father puts you in a headlock. You always have to be paying attention.
Food's just gonna kind of spittle out, and he can kind of, yes, father.
Your mother made that. Chew it up, boy.
Just reaching down there.
Now, are you just gonna sit there, or are you gonna get out of this headlock?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, well, we could definitely work on trying to get.
Give me a dex.
Oh, please be good. 16.
16 is not gonna do it for your father. Him staring down at you, going, well, I guess I know what we're working on today. Lets you go, takes his place at the table, stares across at you, picking up a whole potato, just taking a bite, chewing it. This puts hair on your chest.
I don't want hair on my chest.
It's how you get tough. That's what that means.
Oh, can just grab some more meat.
He hands you a potato in the middle of your plate. Come on, it's good for you.
Grab it.
Give me a con save.
17.
17. You chomp into a raw potato and you manage to crunch your way through it. I'm assuming you don't enjoy it,
No.
but this is just a regular thing your father does.
It's habit.
Your mother kind of just shaking her head from across the way. You're insufferable. We fade to black from that, and we cut back to a small temple in Outerborough. The father is now helping some parishioners and some devotees to Orlon that have come to pray. He is creating food and water for them. What is Fidessa doing?
Fidessa is tidying, she is sweeping, she's mopping, she is dusting, she is again going through all of the minor deities and just making sure that she's kind of got some sense of what's going on in the room. And then just constantly sort of adjusting her sort of wimple and her ceremonial robes to make sure that her hair is covered and she's looking proper. And every time someone new comes into the temple, she kind of like freezes, checks the door, and then relaxes and goes back to tidying.
Give me a perception check.
That's a natural 20.
That's a natural 20.
Huzzah!
You see a man in a uniform that you probably notice. You recognize the uniform. You know what it is. This person is from the Ministry of Intelligence.
And I just calmly keep dusting and I keep my back to the gentleman.
He's looking around the room, kind of shifty. He's wearing this stark gray and white uniform, tall, very straight. very well kept hair. And your friend, who is more kind of welcoming and cheerful, is opening the temple to him and speaking to him. And in that 20, you see him wave you over.
And I make sure I'm all properly covered, and I wander over.
Fidessa, if you wouldn't mind, there's a list of items here that need to be prepared and gathered and delivered. Do you think you could handle that for me?
Of course.
It's of the utmost importance. It's for the Ministry of Intelligence.
Oh, yes, of course.
Looking at the note, it is essentially spell components and a few old texts that you know are stored within the halls of this temple. Please put together a small delivery for them and take care of the delivery. There's an address on the paperwork as well.
Straight to it.
The father goes back to talking to the gentleman from the Ministry of Intelligence, and you head off to do your work. Fading away from that, we're going to cut back to Torbram. Torbram, I assume, is at the outer wall and now headed off to see the commanding officer, Lieutenant Danveer.
With the elvish accent, Diane.
Danveer?
Danveer. We usually just sort it down to Lieutenant Diane.
I see what you did there. Stepping into his office, he has a small office at the barracks where he kind of looks over everyone, takes care of all the paperwork and all the plans for the day. Do you just walk in?
Yeah, is it pretty quiet?
It's pretty quiet.
Yeah, I just slap my boots together and I salute and said, Lieutenant Diane, Soldier Torbram Company 124 reporting, sir. As loud as I can, just to annoy him.
Well, if it isn't my favorite soldier. It looks like you forgot to polish your boots today.
I scrunch my boot and he's...
You can take care of that on your own time. This is my time. He pulls out a piece of paper, starts making some notes, and he goes, I have a special assignment for you today. It is a delivery.
A what?
A delivery.
Like
That crate needs to go to the address on that paperwork right there. And he points to a table across the way. Only someone as skilled as you could possibly handle this.
I drag myself over the table and I kind of poke the box around, the crate, and kind of shake it.
Don't shake it. It says don't shake directly on it.
Oh, sorry, my thumb was on the don't. It's literally just said shake after my,
I constantly give you the easiest jobs. The easiest jobs. After you're done this delivery, I'll need some latrines dug.
That's what I figured.
We don't actually need them. It's just best that there is always someone skilled in digging latrines in case we do need them.
Well, I have dug 200 so far to date, thanks to you, Lieutenant
And
Diane.
we should continue that. So this delivery will probably take you a few hours. Looks like you have to go find an intelligence officer in Hillock. Please take care of the package, ensure it is delivered. You will be handed paperwork when you are done. Return here immediately, and we will do double duty today of latrine practice.
It is absolutely
I know
my
it's your
favorite. And you know what? Give my regards to your dad and his money. And I'm gonna take this package to the intelligence person in Hillock.
Oh, Torbram.
Yes.
One more thing. You didn't notice my hair.
Oh,
I got a new haircut.
honestly, I didn't want to say anything.
I thought you enjoyed saying things about people's hair.
In
What do you
this instance,
think?
I think it's not offensive.
Give me a performance check.
Okay. I got a 3.
3. Right. Well, latrine digging is a relatively new skill. We were in the mountain for so long, now we're out here with soft earth. I just want to really make sure that the Knights of Thimgrum have this under control.
You know what, Lieutenant Dan? I am so glad that the captain has found a way to use your skills to the best of your ability. And I love that I am able to work with you as well. I salute.
Roll performance.
10.
10? That's perfectly fine. He kind of nods, half-heartedly salutes you, doesn't get up from his paperwork, doesn't really glance away from his paperwork. We're gonna fade away from that and cut to Denys. Training with Denys in the family den. Your father, in your family home in the borough of Valley, deep within the mountain, has carved out a small practice arena. He calls it his man cave. And he's standing in front of you, flexing his muscles, going, "Come on, hit me!" Roll an attack.
That is a 13.
That doesn't hit. Do better!
I'm trying! That's a 16?
That just meets his AC, and you see him roll damage.
7.
7 damage, and he goes, "Huh! Barely a dent. Try again."
Oh, there we go. 24.
24.
Ooh, and 8 damage.
And what do you do on a 24 hit?
Recently just put me in a headlock while I was trying to eat again. With something like this, I'm going to actually aim like down towards his leg for the Charlie horse, just to kind of put him down to his knees.
You slam down, punching him right in the leg, and he drops with that. And he goes, "That's the way I taught you. That's the way you do it." Pats you on the back. "That's what you want. That's gonna bruise nicely."
Thanks, Pop. Thanks, Dad. And I'll kind of help him
He
up
goes,
a little bit.
"Every bruise from you, son, is a memory that I cherish forever."
Yeah, Dennis wouldn't know how to react to that because his dad's like Dennis Senior, I guess we'll say. He's been a hard ass all his life, so seeing any sort of like emotional or positive reinforcement is kind of like an odd thing for Dennis Jr. to get. So he just doesn't know how. He's just kind of stunned.
You're stunned. You're stunned. Your father actually complimented for you for once, and maybe you feel yourself finally coming into your own. Your dad goes, "Probably wasn't you. It was probably my bad back." He goes, "Come here. I got something I need you to do."
Okay.
Taking you off into the corner, he opens this old wooden cabinet that you know is filled with memorabilia from his days in the ring as a wrestler. It includes trophies and his gear, his mask. He looks at you and he goes, "Do you know what all this is? Do you know what this history is?"
Stuff I'm not allowed to touch.
Good. You've been paying attention. You've finally been able to hurt me. You're allowed to touch it when I say you are. But I have a task for you first. Old friend of mine contacted me needing some of this gear. It's not all mine. Grabs a box from the top shelf, an old black box. Opens it up, and you see a wrestling mask with a skull on it and horns. It looks tattered and worn, and there's a small booklet underneath it, and a few shattered gems. He closes it, locks it, hands you the key, and he says, "I need you to deliver this."
Where am I going?
You'll be going to Hillock. I wrote the address down for you here, but it is specifically directly behind the Hoof and Claw Tavern. That's where we go get drinks sometimes.
Oh, that's where you get your juice.
Yes.
The I stay away from you juice.
You're welcome to come. I told you could come. I've said you're old enough to go now. Why don't you come?
You put me in headlocks when you're drunk.
I put you in headlocks every day.
Why would I submit myself to more headlocks when I can...
When I put you in a headlock, it's how I show you how bad you are at fighting. And how you must become better. I do it because I don't want you to ruin the family name.
Wow, I was gonna say, your family sucks.
Oh yeah, he's like...
So I'm gonna clean up the blood from the man cave. You've only spilled a little bit today. Good job. That's a compliment.
Oh. Thank you.
Anyways, off with you.
Who am I delivering this to? Like,
It's on the board, the piece of paper.
Okay.
Out of your home, you make your way down the narrow city streets, winding through these tall stone towers carved out of the mountains. The streets are busy and bustling. Cutting through the city, you make your way to the levitator that brings you down to the lower levels where Hillock is. And you're met with a small man who has pylons set up in front of it and is tucked, crammed under the side of it, cursing. This is the way you need to go.
So kind of like knock a little bit, see if I can get...
What?
I gotta get down. Gotta go.
The levitator's acting up again. You know, everything seems to be acting weird lately.
Do you know how long it's gonna be to fix?
I'd tell you how long it was gonna be to fix, but I'm just kind of fixing it. So, I don't know. How long you got?
I don't.
Well, I
I
mean,
need
there's the stairs. You want to take the stairs?
But I've already been training today. Hoping for the
All right,
levitator.
look. For whatever reason, one of the levitator platforms iced over, right? And I don't know why it iced over. Some kind of arcane burst of cold energy came out of it. I'm just here, and he rattles around in a large metal tinkering toolbox and pulls out what looks like a giant blowtorch to defrost the damn thing.
So is it just like a big
There's a big chunk of ice. A levitator is essentially an escalator, but it's levitation platforms that you stand on, and they go around and come back up the other side. And one of them is blocked up with ice. He goes, I mean, maybe you got something you can help me with? As he's just kind of leaning there, holding a blowtorch on the thing.
Well, I'm gonna see if I can just stand back a little, get the torch away for a second, and I'm just gonna get ready to just wind up and just kind of just pound this ice block to give it just a nice, just...
Give me an attack roll on an ice block.
22.
22 definitely hits an ice block.
Like, it's not going anywhere.
Get it.
Oh, max damage 8.
8 damage. You knock most of this thing off and it shatters and falls down, crumbling onto these other levitation platforms, and you see it start to budge and shift a little, and he goes, out of the way there, Sonny. I think I can get the rest of this real quick and get you on your way. And he turns his blowtorch on it again and goes, huh, damn this thing. Things like this happening all over the place lately. Why, the other day I had to fix some of the piping with the waterworks.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, I know. When your piping starts shooting out fire instead of water, it's real important.
Yeah.
That shower is too hot. Well, it looks like it's moving again.
Excellent.
Hey, thanks for your help.
No problem. Glad I can not take a million stares.
My name's Lobert, by the way. Fix things around here. Might see me about if someone in the city needs fixing. I just work for the city works, taking care of this place, so.
Sounds good. If I see you again, I'll give you a wave.
Oh, I appreciate that. Most people just curse at me.
And I'm gonna just jump on and
You jump on and you
Bye.
start levitating down to a lower level, slowly. We come back to a small temple in Utterborough, where we see Fidessa. What is she up to?
She's gathering materials. She's got a basket. She is organizing it. It is like both by color and by size. It is just set up and ready to rock.
You find all these different spell components. The father brings over the scriptures that were requested. They look very old, very ancient, possibly before the founding of this city.
She is very careful with this and properly packaging. Very careful.
Thank you. You always take the most care of things. That's why I asked. And getting out of here, I think, might be good for you. You seem a little pent up.
Yeah. I can see why you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Long story short, yes. Let me just make sure that this is all very nicely, tidily done, though, because yes.
Are you certain there's nothing you want to discuss?
And she just, you can see that just there's something that she is just desperate to talk about. And she's like, there's nothing, it's fine. I'm sure when I come back, we will talk when I get back.
I'm always here ready to listen, just as I was when we were children. He puts a calming hand on you. This is for you. I found this.
Oh, thank you. Oh, found me a book?
I found you a book.
Oh, thank you.
Just for you. And it says the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of Corlon.
Clerics for dummies.
This is where we'll start, right? This was mine when I was a child. But there's nice pictures, and I know your family was never particularly religious. And I think this is a good starting block.
I think so. And I am going to I'm going to learn how to, with the spreading of knowledge and good information, serve. And she checks the back of the page. Coralon, very well. I'm going to do it.
Praise be to Corlon and his court. Yes. The most important part of being a cleric and part of the ministry is serving the people and doing good. It looks like you're on your way, picking up a piece of paper, to Hillock to see a alabaster burnside. That's a place of little ill repute down there.
I will be cautious.
And you step out of the temple, having everything packed up into your package. You start making your way through the streets of Outerborough. Outerborough is a lot less cramped than inside the mountain. It's open, it is airy. You can look up at the sky, this dark purplish hue hanging above you, and these low clouds surrounded around you. You can see the high outer wall of the city, and there's people going about building wondrous new things and new buildings everywhere. You see people trying to set up large farms, which is completely different from how agriculture worked inside the mountain. You make your way through the streets to the large open gates and make your way to a large concourse stepping into the mountain. It's an open, huge plaza with shops lining each side and commerce happening everywhere. Little stands, little newspaper boys running up to you going, "Have you heard the news? Have you heard the news?"
No, what's the news?
Seems like there's a boy that ran away from up top.
Oh.
Very important. Was picked as the next headmaster. He's gone. Where did he go?
Oh no.
Find all about it.
Oh.
Only 3 copper.
Only 1 copper.
Hey. What are you talking about, 1 copper?
1 copper.
What?
I think there's only gonna be half a story, and I think that's only worth 1 copper. Oh, I'm walking away now. Oh, how terrible.
All right. For you, 1 copper, because you're pretty.
That's very sweet of you, and I give him a copper.
You give him a copper. He hands you a rolled up parchment scroll that contains the news, and you head on your way.
There's spelling mistakes in this.
It's also 2 days old. He handed you old news.
This little.
You've already read this.
Yep. Stuff it in my basket.
You stuff it in your basket, make your way through the city, and head over to some levitators that will take you down deeper into the mountain to the borough of Hillrock. Cutting away from there, we make our way back to Torbram. Torbram, I'm assuming, leaving the barracks in Outer Borough, leaving the outer wall.
But yeah, I'll just take this package and I'm just kind of pondering the wonders of life as my thumb keeps covering the don't and not covering the don't. And it's like, shake, don't shake.
Give me a perception check as you shake it.
Not 20.
Nat 20.
Nice.
You hear shifting all around in it.
Mm-hmm.
You also hear what sounds like broken glass.
I pull out like a quill. Like, I stop for a second. It's like, content may have been broken before delivery.
Blow on it. As you're doing that, your staff sergeant walks up to you. She looks down and goes, "What are you doing?"
I stand up, salute. Staff Sergeant, I'm delivering a package for Lieutenant Diane.
We have an entire courier service, and you're going on a delivery mission?
And then I'm gonna make latrines again. Again.
Right.
Oh, I forgot my shovel. Again.
Do you see the lesson in any of this?
Yeah, honestly, make sure that if you're gonna say something about someone who is of higher rank than you, to make sure that they are not in the same room or preferably not in front of you.
That would be wise. You're doing your best.
Yes, I am, Staff Sergeant.
Don't get lost. Don't uncover any conspiracies. It's a delivery.
Which could lead me to a whole bunch of other options. I'm saying it opens doors for me, and it's exactly why I'm here in the military, is to have doors open for me.
Generally, you go through the doors that the military tells you to go through. You don't just open your own doors. You follow orders. You understand that, right?
Yeah, when the door says push, I push and I go in.
She puts a hand on you and goes, "This is really easy."
You know, military life is easy. I didn't think it'd be so easy.
No, this job is really easy. Please, don't screw it up. All the other guys in the battalion are cursing you right now because there's one less guy clearing the tracks from all the vines and trees that overgrew it.
It's way better to be clearing stuff than to, deliver this package of contents that were previously broken to someone.
Roll a deception check.
Ooh, a 9.
A 9. She looks at you and she goes, "You shook the box, didn't you?"
Okay, first off, my thumb was covering the portion that said don't, and it just said shake. So I shook. I was following orders like you do in the military. Just following orders, whether it be from the captain, lieutenant, staff sergeant, or box. I follow those orders to a T.
Follow box orders.
She puts a hand on you and she goes, "I adore you. You've been my closest friend for so long. Please don't get me in trouble for this.
Mum's the
Your
word.
screw up is also my screw up. You remember that's how it works in the military. Torbram, do your best."
You hear that, Torbram?
I heard that. I've talked to you before about talking to yourself like that. Please, not in the military. On your own time.
Don't ask, don't tell, right, Staff Sergeant?
Don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask, don't tell.
We don't need to know what's going on in your head. We need you to follow orders.
Yes, ma'am. This boss is telling me to. Currently, don't shake.
Right. Looks like your paperwork is taking you to Hillock to an alabaster burnside. I assume, looking at your paperwork, you handed to her that he's part of the Ministry of Intelligence, and most of them are fairly secretive.
My mind just starts drifting. Like, secretive? Interesting. I need to get to Hillock right now, Staff Sergeant. Pleasure to meet you again, and I'm off for duties.
You start making your way into the mountains.